Hello everybody. Today we are meeting Saloni Jhaveri. Comes from an illustrious family and I've known her since she was a babe. I also bumped into her at design school and was very fascinated by what she wanted to do with her life. So I thought today I would invite her and introduce her to all of you as well, because we speak a lot about sustainability, upcycling, downcycling and all kinds of things. But to actually meet people who are active in this field is quite rare. And Saloni decided very early in her career to go into the upcycling of fabrics. So Saloni, could you tell us a little bit about what it means to you to work with waste textiles?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
So I am a clothes maker and a practice researcher, and what working with rescued and reclaimed cloth or waste or textile waste is basically something that is in front of me that somebody else doesn't like, but I see that there's something that I can move around, I can play with, I can add detail, I can add value, and something different comes out of it. So there was this thing when, since I was a kid, anything textile or anything cloth that was in front of me, I had to do something with it. I could just not have it in the way that it was. So I used to always have a scissor, or I used to always paint or do something, and my parents would always tell me ke jem chem to rakhu જ નથી. And then I basically just do something out of the textile, and that's how I think my first interaction also with textiles came to me. And my grandmother's having like these beautiful textiles. So early on in my life, I was very much surrounded with colors and prints and cloth and the tactileness of the materials around me.
So you say in your brand that cloth has no trend, which is true, because if you look at handcrafted stuff, it's been like that for ages. True. Maybe a color added here or there, maybe a pattern added here or there, but by and large, the handcrafted stuff is very much where it was. But we've moved on to a lot of technical textiles nowadays. And what does it mean to you to be, in contact with this on a day-to-day basis, besides the fact that, now you consciously surround yourself with the textiles?
So I think, as I said early on, my grandmothers, I also come from an aesthetic family.
Yes.
So it was pretty much around storytelling, pretty much around materials, visuals, and narratives. So I think textiles for me is something that keeps going from a very small part of you and then keeps growing with you and on you each day on. So you mentioned trends. Cloth for me is not trends, or clothing for me is not trends. It's something that develops with a story that passes from me to you or from you to somebody else. So it's something that keeps growing, keeps changing with time, but not trendy in a way, because the roots or the traditions kind of base the textiles to where they were. It's just the story around which that changes.
So how do you rescue these and source all this textile?
So I was in London for my master's in 21 and 22, and I was on a course called Fashion Futures as a part of the London College of Fashions program. And my concept and my practice research basically started from that concept, where I was questioning the pre-consumer textile waste and the post-consumer textile waste. So it was me questioning the habits of consumption and disposal at the same time. So that's where I think my journey into my studio started, where when a garment is made, there's a lot of waste that goes around the garment that just goes into landfills or that is repurposed. And then there's the other part, which is the fully made garments that people dispose because of trends. So putting both of them together is basically where my practice sits. So,
but do you focus on, let's say, a particular kind of fabric or fiber?
Yes.
Or is it a mix of different fibers together?
So preferably the studio and I would love working on cottons because we do not want to put any polyester or synthetics into the circle. And there are countless production houses that manufacture cotton products in India.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was back for a month where I was continuing my practice research, and there's a local production house in Kanpur and Ahmedabad from which I sourced my first batch of offcuts.
Okay.
So probably if you say there are 100 pieces made in a day, then there's like 50 or 80 kgs of waste,
Yes.
just the offcuts,
Yeah.
chindis that we know of that go to waste. So I collected those, put them back into a textile and then made my garments from that. So local production houses from Ahmedabad and across India is where I source my offcuts from.
Okay. And when you see people, you know, you have a piece of that material and somebody's wearing the other garment. What do you think then?
Till today, I haven't really come across
Yeah.
somebody wearing the garment, because also I think that's where I come into the picture.
Yeah.
That's where my aesthetic comes into the
Yeah.
picture, where I collect a lot of offcuts and then I source them according to prints or according to how my design aesthetic or design philosophy lies, and that's how I make a new textile out of it. For somebody who is wearing the same piece cut from the same offcut, probably might not have the same thing because I mix it around with other offcuts.
Yeah.
So it's basically bringing those little scrap stories also together to make like a...
And do you have, let's say, like normal clothing stores, a series of the same in different sizes, or is it a one-off piece each time?
It is a one-off piece each time. So what we make is one-off wearable art pieces, because since we let our designs or let our clothings let us guide from whatever scraps that we get. So it's not obvious that we're going to get black or we're going to get blue or we're going to get a certain kind of a cotton or we're going to get certain kind of a linen. So putting together those things, each piece has its own individual personality and a story.
Yeah. How is your process? I mean, I guess you just have piles of this material lying around you. And do you get inspired by the color or the print, or what kind of makes you make that first move that, oh, this is what I want to do today?
So I think it's actually funny, because what guides me is that the studio, my practice and my work has always been at the intersection of the present, past and the future. So there are these three words that we develop on, which is repurpose, reimagine and reduce. So we interpret repurpose in terms of the present, we reimagine in terms of the past, where we take inspiration from the silhouettes that have been evidenced in the Indian history of fashion, and we translate reduce to the future, where we are again questioning the habits of consumption and disposal. So all of this, the circle ends with the present, past and the future. So that's how the design or the materials guide us. So if there's like 10 kgs or 20 kgs of waste before me, which I have in my studio, I actually have 100 kgs of waste sourced from production houses right now when I'm talking at my studio. So yes, the sorting happens through color, the sorting happens through the texture, and then again put together what kind of silhouette that is that I can probably put these together and make from. So the designs also come from the availability of the textile waste that we have. So we are on a reverse zero waste process. We basically make textile only as much as a design needs or as much as a silhouette needs, and not vice versa, where you make your pattern and then you cut your fabric and the fabric goes to waste.
So one cannot step into your studio and say, okay, there's a whole range of things. It could be that one would come in and say, I like this, like this, like this, and could you think of something to put together with it? Is that a possibility?
That is, but what I would like to do is I would like to create my work, create the art, because that's the story that I'm trying to put across for people to actually understand. I'm sure everybody has their own stories where they would like to come, like pick out this is the fabric, this is the thing, but I think it's much more in me that I want to put across, and eventually down the line that could be a possibility.
Yeah. Would you like to see your work become kind of heirlooms that kind of go from mother to daughter and, you know? So
Yes, most definitely. So
because the fabric quality is not different from the other one, it's just that
yes.
it's not being used.
Yes. So what we do is whatever defect or whatever indifference that one textile offcut has, we add value to it. So we handcraft all these textile offcuts together and build our textile. So a lot of craft techniques, a lot of hand stitching techniques also go into our garments. So definitely heirloom, yes. At the same time, when a customer or when a person appreciates or is a wearer in any form for our garments, what we do is we put out a note saying if there's a defect in any way, please bring it back to us so we can redo it for you. So every time we're trying to build this emotional durability between the wearer and the garment so that the wearer holds on to the piece a little longer than disposing it off.
So sometime back I bought a dress which I also had to walk in for some sustainability fashion show, and I was surprised that in the shortest time, because she said I'm hand stitching it and all, it kind of fell apart, and that's when I discovered that the thread she had used was synthetic, so it kind of burnt away quite quickly, and also a lot of the parts she had glued together, you know. So I think understanding what you use is also very important, that you make sure. I also know this from fire safety clothing.
Most definitely.
They will say that, you know, the fabric is fire retardant, but if the thread isn't fire retardant,
then the whole garment,
then the whole thing falls apart in the fire.
True, true.
Right? So sustainability, of course, is to the last detail that you have to use and be consistent. But I don't think people are throwing away threads, cotton threads that you could talk about. But at least I'm sure you use the right threads.
We try to. We try to. I think it's still a new journey for us. We're still starting out, but we try our best to do it as for best knowledge.
I'm sure the market isn't you know, already onto it and say that, okay, we are selling threads that are sustainable, that are maybe, or you would have to end up buying a khadi thread and then using it as it is, or coloring it, you know, dyeing it as per your needs. That's also an option, I suppose.
That's also an option, but at the same time, there's so many things around us that probably to differentiate out between the good and the bad is also a task in itself.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of, I call myself a practice researcher is because of that, that all of what I do, all of what I create or make is an ongoing research and an ongoing explanation of questioning as to why something works and why something doesn't work. And that's how I think.
Have you ever gotten rest materials from, let's say, the khadi bhandars?
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is that a lot?
Not as much, because they also put their cut pieces, the smaller cut pieces and the waste into their production, where they make all these potlies and they reuse and they upcycle in their own space. But yes, I have been sourcing from them as well.
And you are sticking to garments.
Yes, we're sticking to clothing because there's another thing that I'm set out to make is that clothes and clothing are two different things. If you have that compassion towards clothes, then it becomes a piece of clothing. Otherwise, it's just clothes that you're going to buy, wear and waste.
And do you have a system where somebody can come and give you, let's say, some of their old stuff, which they are not using anymore?
Yes, I think eventually we're in the first 6 months of building our practice, building our studio. So eventually down the lane, yes, that would be a very possible thing where I would want people to bring in stuff that they would want to hold on to for a little longer, and where we can add some value so that it still remains with them.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, that's definitely.
But I suspect that also, let's say, the new generation, that as it comes, we are moving away a lot from saris. Some people are going back to saris and some are completely moving away from saris, for example, or even from the traditional kurtas and things like that. So some of that, maybe, let's say, a daughter or whoever is cleaning out cupboards will say, I don't want this, you know. So they could come and give it to you, kind of.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. But having said that, I think also it's important to kind of revive what existed, but in probably like a newer context, but
Yeah.
at the same time where it still means something.
Absolutely. This is what I have also said many years ago already when I started, with Asif on this whole fashion business, and then he carries it
I
forward.
think we
I've-
started,
Yes.
started the journey
Yes.
from there.
So that was the purpose of that whole project and program at the time, that keep the handcrafted knowledge alive by using it for more contemporary purposes. And I still believe that that will keep the handcrafted materials and a lot of other handcrafted things, from buttons
True.
to other embellishments, also alive in that way. So it's not just about craft. I think craft always has had a purpose. I think we kind of just lose sight of it from time to time.
True.
And the whole craft is dying. I think it will die when you don't keep up, right? If you don't kind of at least follow a little bit of what it means. If you don't finish it well, if you think that because it's handcrafted it should be kind of shoddy, that doesn't work. So it should, handcraft means that you can produce the finest that the hands can do, and then you should do that.
Very much so.
I think a lot of our hearts where then handicrafts are sold fall behind because of this lack of understanding of good quality.
Correct.
Because if I am spending money, I want good quality. Why should I take home shoddy stuff where stitches are falling apart, or one wash will make the whole thing go red, stuff like that. So I think that consciousness also has to come in.
True.
Understanding also natural dyes has to come in, and the availability of the resources for those natural colors.
Yes.
Yeah. And that could become a business for somebody also.
True.
So this word has to go out that there is an opportunity in reusing of old or unused textiles, I should say, and upcycling them to something new, repurposing it and building a whole new.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because look at the dump sites nowadays.
It's
If
alarming,
you go around
and it's
Surat
crazy.
and Sachin, it's a nightmare. I mean, there's fabric everywhere. You're driving over it, you're walking over it. It just feels like a muddy carpet.
True.
Do you go to villages, craft villages at all? Because normally when you talk about handcrafted fabrics or cotton, most people go to the villages. You've gone into the city.
Yes.
Because Ahmedabad is the capital of cotton textiles, but many people go into the villages to source.
True. So I think the practice is at a very interesting juxtaposition of traditional and contemporary. So we work on hand stitches, but we're not very heavy on hand stitches because we are heavier on the making side of it. So that includes the textile, that includes the waste, and then that includes the silhouette as well. So most of the karigars that I work with and the team behind the studio is pretty much based in Ahmedabad. Eventually, yes, I would love to scale up. I would love to travel, go to these villages and work on crafts. But I think for now, we've found that I don't think found is the correct word. We're still finding that balance between the traditional side of how the textiles look, at the same time the silhouettes are contemporary. So, yeah.
What is your understanding about the difference between organic and sustainable?
So I think sustainable word for me is huge, and in my usual everyday I don't use. I think I would like to use the word sustain, because something that you sustain, something that you're very intentional about, leads you towards sustainability. So I
Correct.
think sustainability is the end, but to reach the end, you need to sustain your practices, you need to sustain your decisions, you need to be extremely thoughtful and intentional about the choices you make. And organic, I think, um, organic also is, according to me, extremely subjective, because organic to me can also come from what inspires me or what is very much present inside of me. So a lot of reflections happen that can be organic, and at the same time for them to sustain is leading towards sustainability. So I think that's where I'm at.
What do you think? Because you're building a business out of this. So you must have some, you know, business plan in place to do this. How did you go about doing that?
So that's a funny story. So this was a concept that I worked on, and the concept was basically a culmination of all the points or my journey into the clothing world since I was in middle school. So I think all of those points together built my concept and then built my foundation for the studio. I think I am much more on the creative side rather than the business side. But funny story, because this was like a very in-depth conversation and a heated argument with my dad when I came back from London, where he's like, this is a business. You have to think in terms of it sustaining as a business. Only then you'll be able to put your pieces out. You'll be able
Yes.
to get there where everybody there has your piece. So I think,
You have to pay bills.
yes, I have to pay bills as well. Yeah, but I think ultimately my goal is to go global and international, and that's how I would love to scale up. But on the smaller day-to-day practices, I myself, I am involved in each of the things that I'm doing right now, currently,
Yeah.
because I have an extremely small team. We're not in-house at the moment, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. We've had a really good response these past couple of months, and it's fairly new. So I think we'll come back to this question in the next 6 months.
When you were, being trained in a design school, or when you did your internships, any of these places, did they give you an idea about, how to run a business?
Sadly, no.
No.
No. So I think it's these last 2 years since I've been back from London to here, it's also me learning day in and day out as to how I'm going to keep up with the accounting side as well, which is a very important aspect of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have really liked for us to have a business module or somewhere where we were acquainted with all of the systems that happen at the back end, and not only on the front end of the creative side.
Yeah. Because currently you buy your material, or is it just because it's waste to them you can collect it?
So there are two things. There are production houses now that they're aware that the source is also a kind of resource. So for them to make money out of it, they sell it and I have to buy it. But then there are production house, for them it's absolutely waste and it's just going to go to dumps. So there are both sides to it. I have had production houses where I've sourced from where I've just gotten like bags and bags of textile waste and I had to sort out each little offcut being mixed with polyester and synthetic, also only cottons, and at the same time I've also had to buy my textile offcuts as my raw material.
Yeah.
So it's both sides, but I think eventually the more people are going to be aware, the more production houses are also going to be aware of the waste being a resource.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised that at some point they might put it back into their cycle.
Yes.
So I think
Well,
we're
that's
also
where it should go eventually.
yes, that's yes.
And what is your understanding of fast fashion? Do you think that that will continue to exist, or people will come down and say only so many garments, in my cupboard, and not more?
I think so. This is actually an interesting question because I've been asked this a lot of times. Fast fashion, what it means to me is, like I discussed, at the rate at which you are consuming and disposing. So fast fashion is again an extremely big term as to how collections are being produced or how new pieces are being produced, but that's again at the rate of consumption and rate of disposal. I think what fast fashion is that when I buy a piece, the amount of time that I hold on to the piece or the amount of times I give wear to the piece is what makes it slower. So H&M, Zara, or all these fast fashion brands that we talk about, I buy from H&M. I'm not saying I don't buy from H&M, but it's that I consciously buy. If I'm buying a jeans from H&M, I'm going to keep it for like years and years to go till the time I can actually upcycle or mend it, and I'm going to still have it. So I am consuming, but at the same time I'm being very intentional about the rate at which I'm disposing. So I think fast fashion has a very personal idea or a very personal note to how one understands of fast fashion. It might be extremely different to somebody else. For them, it might be 3 wears, and that's like a lot of wears for them. But that's them. That's the idea of
So what is
fast.
your oldest garment? How many years old do you have something?
I have a lot of pieces that are like super old. I have this blouse from my great grandmother from my maternal side, and my mom, every time I open my Navratri potlu and I take out that blouse, Mama is like, do something with it now, just give it to somebody. I'm like, I cannot give it to anybody. I still fit into it. I still love it. So I think that's one thing that, so with dad, it's the business side of it. With mom, it's that, you have so many things, but I love to hold on to them.
Yeah.
And be very mindful as to where I am disposing. So probably I would rather dispose it to somebody who actually needs it if there is no scope for revival. But I think I have it in me that I kind of do something with it. I'm actually wearing this shirt which is a little worn out, but then I've made a pocket and I keep wearing it. So
you mean there was a little hole there?
Yes, it's a little worn out. There's a little hole here. So I keep doing these little things and I keep wearing it. So I have a lot of pieces that are extremely old. And again, coming from a family who is super into textiles, super into art, I think all those pieces have also passed on to me.
That's very nice. And that you actually care for them and, wear them and reuse them and repurpose them. That's fantastic. Let's say on a national level, what do you think that the impact if more and more students like you coming out of design schools, because we have, I think about, they're saying 5,000, but I think there are many more students coming out from some form of creative schooling now. I would not call them all design schools, but there are lots of creative schools. And what do you think that is lacking right now in their understanding of, the waste that is generated in our country and where it goes?
I think for me, and what I feel is that when I was doing my undergrad, which was 2015 to 2019-ish, we weren't aware of a lot of things that were happening around us. Whereas I feel in today's time, I was just at Anand University talking to a couple of students, and they're on a course called Sustainable Fashion and Textiles Design. So they're pretty much aware and exposed to a lot of things that are happening. For example, back in the day when I was in college, I was not aware of the term greenwashing, or I wasn't aware of the 15% discount thing at H&M, and I would collect those garments and go so that I could, I thought I was doing something good, but I didn't know at the time that what I was doing was actually not great, which I think as compared to then, today's students, they're much more aware. They're much more into what's happening, again, with social media and technology, AI, all of it. So I think if they consciously had to sit and give a thought as to how intentional they are with the kind of work that they produce, I think a lot of difference can be made. Again, just starting with taking care and being compassionate about what you wear. It's as simple as that.
And do you think that there is place, a platform that could be created of like-minded people
Most definitely. I think
who
we
could come
really,
together,
really need that.
and push a policy also,
Yes.
create a policy and push it out as to how to upscale fabrics, etc.
Yes,
But
yes.
also footwear, and there are so many other
So
things.
many different avenues where we can
Yeah.
actually, just keep circling around into the cycle and not keep adding more.
Yeah.
The idea of, it's interesting because the idea of second hand and thrifting has just begun in Ahmedabad.
In Ahmedabad.
In
and in
Ahmedabad,
India.
yeah, and in India.
Yeah.
India probably cities
Of
like
course,
Bombay,
at
Delhi,
another
probably
level, it has
it's-
always existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But people are much more aware. They're talking. People, it's the thing. Why would I wear something that's already worn? But why would you not?
Yeah,
Like
we all had
if somebody
hand-me-downs.
doesn't, everybody has hand-me-downs. There's
Yeah.
so many garments that are just sitting in everybody's
Yeah.
closets because you have that emotional
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
So if somebody doesn't like a piece, there's probably somebody out there who
Correct.
will love the piece.
Yeah.
So why not the swap and exchange?
Yeah.
Like, why not just keep it into the cycle?
I've worn a lot in
Too.
I mean, in times, not just because I didn't have enough income, but because I just like the stuff. And I've bought lots of clothing like this from thrift stores in
And I'm
the
sure
Netherlands.
everybody loves doing that. Everybody has definitely, without a doubt, had at least one hand-me-down that's been
Yes.
in the family.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yes,
Each and every one of us.
true. So maybe that could be a new kind of a platform, hand-me-downs,
Yes.
to start off the whole circular economy
Yes.
for fashion, let's say.
That would be an
And
interesting thing.
I'm also curious how that would go, because I also was part of CERC for a bit, and the portfolio given to me was also about sustainability at the time. And there's so much more. I mean, sometimes we talk about natural dyes, etc., being good for you, but at the same time, if you look at indigo, it's
The
quite a poisonous
backstory.
thing to have
is.
constantly touching your skin. It's cooling on the one hand. So a lot more research has to be done on the other aspects of natural dyes and natural fabrics, how they work on you. So I think life cycles of these products also, of the fiber and the fabric, has to be studied. And then from there you can come up to having a very clear idea about where to go with it. We are just now I think a lot of it is what is it called, all these fashionable words that are used, but a lot has to be done still.
Yes. I think when I'm having a conversation in general with anybody, I highly doubt that I use the word fashion. I only I think the word that comes out is clothing, because fashion is a huge term. There's so many aspects to it, but we can just start small. The traditional idea of fashion is you link it with clothes, you link it with glamour. So the clothing aspect is like the smallest bit in which I think one can
But clothing has changed so much, and people are trying to ape, of course, what they visualize as role models. And those role models are hardly wearing, clothing.
Clothing.
Literally and
figuratively.
So to put it like that. But it's very interesting to see that you are following this route.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that people listen to this and get inspired by it. I've been, like I said, promoting thriftwear shops, second-hand clothing, sustainability in all forms, and I've been active in the textile industry for some time, one or the other way. So I found this a very refreshing move when a young person takes it upon herself to change the way people look at clothing.
Thank you so much, because I still have a long way to go.
And will you be giving tags about how to take care of the...
Yes, we do wash
Yeah.
tags, and at the same time we have a couple of notes. But this is a very important point for somebody who actually buys a product. Please go through the tags, the washing care instructions, because I'm sure a lot of clothes makers and a lot of designers put an effort to actually make the wash tag as per how the garment should be taken care of, and you don't. And
Yeah.
then the garment, like, so much of effort goes into the making of the garment, and the garment is just there.
Yeah.
So if you're actually making an effort of being a wearer to that
Yeah.
clothing piece, then do the
Yeah.
back end of
So
it
I
as
used
well.
to listen to a lot of women who would, I bought an organic cotton dress, and then they put it in their washing machine with their
Yeah, you
regular,
can't. You cannot do that.
washing powder or whatever, and that's the end of your organic. But what should have been also followed up was washing it every time organically. Now, neither is the water that is coming into your home organic. So it is ridiculous that one takes this effort in the industry to create clothing and call it organic at all, because it's a waste of resources in the process of producing it, when the end user cannot keep up with it.
Keep up with it, exactly. If you're making that effort of buying and making the choice of buying a slow fashion product or a slow clothing piece, then you need to also slow down, look after it, take care of the piece, and be compassionate towards it. Only then it's a two-way thing.
Yeah. So on that note, I think we shall end today's chat, and if you find it interesting, please come back to me with your ideas and thoughts for other such stories. I'd like to thank Saloni for her time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And sharing her thoughts with us. And do follow her. Where should they find you?
So we have an Instagram page. It's @_Saloni Jhaveri_. So it's the studios page, and I look forward to seeing you all on the page. Thank you.
Till next time.